NFL playoffs, wild card weekend, 6 games. Here are my predictions. Starting off in the NFC, the 2-seed Eagles against the 7-seed Packers. The Eagles are 5.5-point favorites, and honestly, I like that pick. Saquon Barkley, playing at an MVP level, has rushed for over 2,000 yards. A.J. Brown is still one of the best weapons in the league, and a lot of people are making some noise about Jalen Hurts having missed a month. I don't see that making enough of a difference to swing my prediction in this game. The Packers are pretty well balanced, but they're the youngest team in the league, the youngest team in the playoffs, and the Eagles are the best team in the NFL in total passing yards allowed. And I think that in that environment, on the road, I don't see the Packers doing enough to win that game, giving the Eagles to move on. 6-seed Commanders against the 3-seed Buccaneers. This game is interesting. If this game were in Washington, I'd be picking the Commanders to win this one. Jaden Daniels, likely the offensive rookie of the year in the NFL, rightfully so. The dude is an absolute gamer. People forget that Baker Mayfield has been a pretty darn good quarterback in the playoffs, especially in Tampa Bay. The Buccaneers are a slight favorite at home, and I like that pick. It's going to be a good game. I think Jaden Daniels and the Commanders put up a very good fight, but I think Baker and the Bucs do enough, and they move on. Finally, in the NFC, the 5-seed Vikings against the 4-seed Rams. The Vikings are the best 5-seed in NFL history, having won 14 games, only one win away from taking the top seed in the NFC. Obviously, some heavy circumstances around this game, which had been moved from Inglewood, California to Glendale, Arizona, because of all the horrific fires going on in Los Angeles. The Rams come into this game with a lot of momentum, having won 5 of 6, but they're second to last in the league in rushing yards per attempt. They're not going to be able to run the ball. They're going to ask Matthew Stafford to do everything against this Vikings team, which has proven it's one of the best in the NFL. I don't see the Rams being able to do enough. Vikings are 2.5-point favorites, basically a pick'em game, and I'm picking the Vikings to move on. Now moving on to the AFC, the 2-seed Bills against the 7-seed Broncos, who had to beat the Kansas City Chiefs in order to make the playoffs, albeit the Chiefs without a single starter worth mentioning. Broncos quarterback Bo Nix has had a sensational season, but in those conditions, in that stadium, against that team this time of the year, I do not see Bo Nix being able to do enough to take down the Buffalo Bills, which handed the Kansas City Chiefs their only, I'll call it, legitimate loss of the season. Buffalo Bills are the favorites. They should be. I think they move on relatively easily. 2 interesting games here, starting off with the 5-seed Los Angeles Chargers against the 4-seed Houston Texans. I just don't trust the Texans. 6-2 to start the year, 4-5 down the stretch. Texans are one of the worst teams in the league in defending the pass, and now you got Justin Herbert rolling into town on a 3-game win streak with Jim Harbaugh, who, by the way, last year won a national championship. I think he knows what he's doing in the playoffs. I like the Chargers to move on in this one. And finally, the 3-seed Baltimore Ravens against the 6-seed Pittsburgh Steelers. Heated divisional rivalry game, and usually in the rivalry games, you say toss out the stats, toss out the numbers, but I just don't see the Steelers doing enough to win this game. They have absolutely limped into the playoffs. Yeah, it's true, Lamar Jackson only has a 2-4 record in the playoffs, but once again, he's playing at an MVP level. I think the Baltimore Ravens are peaking at just the right time. Their defense is on fire right now. I don't think the Steelers are going to be able to do nearly enough. Give me Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to move on to the divisional round. So in the NFC, I have the Eagles, the Buccaneers, and the Vikings to move on. And in the AFC, I have the Bills, the Ravens, and the Chargers to move on. Let me know in the comments who you think is headed on to the divisional round.